Yeah, good morning, children. So today we are going to see about the monohybrid cross. Okay, so monohybrid cross is said to be like when you say um, a single character, the crossing over between the single character. So that is said to be the monohybrid cross. So so far we have seen about the heredity and the variation, like about transmission of character from one generation to another generation. And in that also I have said about the trait, like dominant and the recessive trait. So here, this dominant and recessive trait has a very important role in this monohybrid cross. How? And why it is said to be the monohybrid cross. And before going into this monohybrid cross, who has done this cross and why he has done so? The scientist called this Mendel, Johann Gregor Mendel. It's a Mendel's experiment. Okay, so this person, he is a scientist. He is a very knowledge person of both biology and mathematics. He wants to do the calculation, and he wants to merge the biological concept with the calculation. He wanted to say the word like the transmission of character is universal. So with the calculation, he has done an experimental proof to learn more about the transmission of characters. And for that, he has chosen a plant called as garden pea plant. Okay. So it's nothing but the pea plant, what we used to eat, the peas, green peas. So the botanical name for this garden pea plant is Pisum sativum. So he has chosen this garden pea plant. Why he has chosen this garden pea plant? In the sense, it is very easy to grow, easy to maintain, and it can do both self and the cross pollination. And it's an annual plant. It can yield very soon. The yield will be very soon. So for these reasons, he has chosen the garden pea plant. Now coming to this monohybrid cross. Monohybrid cross. The name says about mono, the crossing over between the single trait. Trait, already I told what is mean a trait, character of an organism. So crossing over between the single trait of an organism. So when you say like crossing over between the single trait, I already told you what is meant by trait. Trait means character. So this pea plant has a character. Each character will be exist in two alternative forms. The character he has chosen is the stem height. So this stem height is available both in two forms, that is tall and dwarf. Each character is like that. When you take seed can be exist in the form of round and wrinkle. Flower can be exist in violet and white, and pod color and again green and yellow. So every character can exist in two forms. Here he has taken a single character called stem height, which will be existing in both the tall and the dwarf. So he has taken a plant, like a pure plant. Pure plant means like a tall plant and a dwarf plant. So the capital T and the small t. So this is called as the genotype, because it's called as the gene set which express about the character, genotype. See, the capital T express about the dominant, and then this is expressing the recessive. So from this you would have understood which is dominant and which is recessive. Here the dominant character is the tall and the recessive is dwarf. So this is said to be the pure plant. Why? Because the genotype is pure, no mixture of small t and capital T, which means it is a homozygous. Homozygous means similar, homozygous genotype. Okay, so up to this you should understand. Monohybrid cross says about the crossing over between the single character of an organism. The single character in the sense, Mendel has chosen the garden pea plant's stem height, which is tall and dwarf. He has taken the two different parent. One is a tall plant, another one is a dwarf plant. Both comes under the same character of height. Now he has chosen these two different plant. He is going to do an experiment, and he has already done this. So, and he'll observe like what is this experiment says about like. Okay, so this is about the initial process in the monohybrid cross. Okay, so in the monohybrid cross, like I already told you, he has chosen this tall and the dwarf. Now we are going to see how the experiment goes out. So the parent is tall and the dwarf. So this is said to be the parent. He has crossed this. So now we are going to observe the F1 generation. What is the first generation? So the gene sets we can write like this. This is called as Punnett square. Okay, so it's a very simple calculation like PT, PT, just a crossover. Like, so if you see all this are tall. How we are saying this is a tall plant? Because whenever there is a dominant character, the expression of dominant character is there, capital T, the plant will always express the dominant character. For example, if capital Y and small y is there, if it is for yellow, definitely this will be yellow. If it is double Y also yellow, and capital Y, small y also yellow, which means this capital representation says about the existence of dominant genotype, dominant gene genotype. Okay, now the F1 generation, all plants are tall plant. If you see, all are tall. Okay, so all are heterozygous tall. Heterozygous means two different genotype is there, one capital T and small t. So it is said to be heterozygous tall. Now the resultant is TT. Okay, now this is said to be monohybrid. Because why it is monohybrid? The two different characters have been taken and has been crossed. Therefore, we got this TT. That is, two different genotype is there, but being dominant genotype, the tall has been expressed. Now we are going to cross this monohybrid. Going to observe F2 generation. Okay, so this monohybrid is going to get crossed. So only it is said to be monohybrid cross. Okay, now we can write like this. Again, the Punnett square. So what is the result? Like TT, 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 and TT. Now if you see, there are 3 tall plants and 1 dwarf plant. So the ratio is 3:1. This is a phenotypic ratio, like by seeing the height, genotypic in the sense, 1 TT is 1 homozygous, and these heterozygous, 2 heterozygous, and 1 homozygous. So this is a genotypic ratio. This genotypic ratio is 1:2:1. So the monohybrid cross ratio is 3:1 is the phenotypic, and genotypic is 1:2:1. Okay, so this genotypic and phenotypic ratio says that if the character is there in the parent, the recessive character, it won't be expressed in the F1 generation, but definitely it will be expressed in the F2 generation. It says about, like, it explains about the dominance, law of dominance. What does mean by this law of dominance? So the law of dominance is nothing but the character, the dominant character will be expressed when it is present along with recessive allele. Okay, so that is called as law of dominance. So the dominant, definitely it will be expressing whenever it is present along with the recessive character. So this is about the law of dominance. This is about the monohybrid cross. Again, I'm repeating, monohybrid cross is about the crossing over between the single character of an organism. The single character Mendel has chosen is the stem height. Okay, the stem height, which can be exist in both the tall and the dwarf. And the tall, he has taken the pure tall and the dwarf plant. He has done cross pollination. Here it is self pollination because Same type of plant has been taken. This is self-pollination. The first, he has done cross-pollination, and second, he has done the self-pollination. So as a result of this, he has come to a conclusion like the character which is expressed along with the character which is present along with the recessive, which will be expressed in the F1 generation, is the dominant character. The dominant character always will be expressing when it present along with the recessive. Okay, so this is about the law of dominance and also about the monohybrid cross. So in the next class, we'll be seeing about the dihybrid cross and which are the laws which support the dihybrid cross. That also we will be seeing in the next class.